Hello everyone, I can see all the familiar faces joining in. Thank you. We are going to wait just for a few seconds to welcome our guests for tonight. Right now, and we'll start very exciting hello from Luxembourg. Hi, Sir Jan. Here you go. Hello,
Hi.
hello. Hi. Can you see me well? Your head is a little bit cutting, so
Oh,
you can move it. Here you go. That's perfect. Yes, better. Yeah, a little bit. Make it a little bit more. Can you adjust a little bit
aha.
more? Here you
Good.
go. Yes.
You can see the whole of me.
Yes, fantastic. That's right. I definitely didn't want to cut your
You're so welcome.
mind, mind away
It's the
from
most
the.
important that you don't want to cut.
Exactly, exactly. So great to see you, Sabrina. We just wait maybe for 1 or 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds, and I will say a few words about conversations with Olga because some of the people are joining us the first time. Some of course, our guests are really followers, and thank you everyone for all this many number of episodes. And then I will do a quick introduction for you, and then we'll start our exciting conversation that I'm looking forward to because I want to know the answers.
Me too. Thank you. Thanks for having me as well.
Of course, it's my pleasure. Okay, I think we shall start because I will have quite a bit to cover. I welcome everyone. Good evening in Singapore and Asia. Good morning and good afternoon in Europe, and good early morning in the US, whoever is joining us from US. Today we are at the episode number 33 for Conversations with Olga that I've started last year during the circuit breaker um, with the goal to introduce my friends and personalities I've met over my career to the multicultural Singaporean community through a platform that I feel is very accessible and interesting. These conversations run gamut of from intellectual and cultural exchanges to more personal conversations about how people will feel their dreams. My main mission is and hope for this series is to inspire and cultivate more diverse and inclusive community. It is an honor for me today to introduce my friend Sabrina Villard. I will be very brief to say a few words, as I said, about you, Sabrina, and then we'll move into the conversation proper. Sabrina Villard is shaman from a family lineage and is an advocate of mental and emotional health awareness. She created a unique ICU, Shamanic Energy Healing, and alternative therapy concept and practice. She melds ancient spiritual wisdom and methodology with an understanding of the contemporary ailments of our modern world we live in. Sabrina introduces spirituality in our modern and material world. She supports and guides her clients to release and understand any blockages and negative beliefs, traumas that may prevent them from reaching their highest and fullest potential. Be Healings, this is the company that Sabrina is behind, mantra is, we do not change but evolve. It encourages us to look inwards, face ourselves, and become the best version of our own selves. Sabrina has been featured in Forbes, Tatler, Echelon magazines, and has held workshops all around the world in different places of the world. Tonight, I'm very excited to introduce to my friend Sabrina, and I would like to talk about the power of the unique shamanic energy and energy healing, and how we can all reach higher understanding of our own energies to the best version of ourselves. Welcome, Sabrina.
Thank you.
I must admit, yes, I must admit this is the first time I've met shaman.
Make a wish.
In the pure,
It's
yes,
luck.
exactly, in a pure word. But let's start with the definition of shamanism. Actually, the term shamanism comes from the Manchu Tungus word saman. The noun is formed from the verb sa, to know. Thus, a shaman is literally one who knows. Can you please explain a bit more in depth about the ability and to call someone himself or herself as a shaman? What is shaman?
Um, shaman, for me, the translation of the shaman would be someone that see. It's someone that would be a seer. So that's also why I called my practice I See You. So it's someone that would manage to see the real you, the inside of you, to have a closer look into your soul as well. So practically, a shaman would be doctor of the soul. It will be someone, it will be a bridge between the spiritual world and the physical world. So it's someone that will be able to pick up messages from the spiritual world and to translate that into concrete words and actions and guidance for our own daily life, or even for the community, or for specific topics. So usually the shaman will cover not just providing messages, but also healing. So it's on two parts. One will be sharing the guidance, but then the second part will be also someone who's able to interact, to interfere, not interfere, but interact on the energy level of a person. And by doing that, creating changes, would be able to create those changes in the physical world. Means if you have, let's say, a physical or chronic pain, the shaman will be able to enter the energy field of a person to refill that gap, to see where the wound is coming from. It will bring you the explanation of why, but also refill that gap. So that means on the physical level, you will probably feel a big relief of the pain. It could be physical pain, it could be emotional pain, it could be spiritual pain as well. Sometimes when what I would call a spiritual pain is usually when someone is a bit lost in a crisis. So that what I will call the pain of the soul. Physical pain would be just barely, could be physical. I had patients also who are fighting against cancer. We're not saying that we could heal cancer, but we can help to relieve the pain. We can help to improve certain treatment to react on the person's physical body, things like that. And then there is the problem of the mind. There is like everyday's problem, stress, anxiety, or conflicts that we may have in our daily life.
Exactly, yes, and that's basically historically shamanism is often associated with indigenous and tribal societies, right? And it involves involved the shamanism to connect to the outer world. Sometimes it is a taboo in certain cultures. What do you think about it? Is it
correct?
This is what I've been hearing from a number of people.
It's true, it's true. In some cultures, shamanism became a taboo, may still be a taboo, especially in very religious culture. Because if we look at back in the days, the history of shamanism, the shaman was the doctor of the village, was the guide of the village. So it was a bit of like the connection to the divine for an entire village back in the days. And we had the apparition, let's say, of religions, which, by the way, shamanism is not linked to any religion. This is also why it could work in every culture or society. It's not a religion, it's more a philosophy of life. But the taboo would come from the fact that a shaman would have access to that, let's say, divine power of connecting with the spiritual world, bringing message from the spiritual world, also dealing with this transition between life and death. Sometimes we also deal with a lot of clients where they've lost someone, or they feel that maybe that person that they've lost will still be in a transition between a few words, which is something that normally only religious people will be able to deal with. So that's why it becomes taboo in certain cultures.
Got it. Thank you so much. Now that we know a little bit more in depth what the shamanism really means, what is the difference between a shaman and psychic?
I smile already. I like this question, by the way. So a psychic for me, again, would be someone who's more, will be tapping into the possibilities of the future. If I say someone will go see a psychic, would be more to say, what would be my future? So it's more linked to fortune teller. That a shaman, and also it's mainly a medium, will be providing messages. That a shaman would be more same will also be able to provide messages and guide, but also heal. That's also the very big difference between the psychic and the shaman. The shaman will be here to translate, give you messages. We don't particularly tap into the future, but we can guide you on where your path is, the good way to go. But then we usually don't roll out into the future. This is not something that we really particularly tap in. But what we have in plus is that we heal. We help people to actually heal. It's not just a message. It's a more holistic approach.
Great, thank you for that. And I would like to now to discover a little bit more about yourself and for you to share about your own life's journey. And to start with, I would like to hear, who are you as a person, as a character, a personality?
If I have to say,
Sabrina, can you start? Sabrina, can you start again? We had a little bit of a loss of the connection. Can you start again, please? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so this is a big question. First of all, it's like very hard to see who we are, but I had to face it and I had to answer it. Actually, like the last few months of my life, I really had to say, okay, who am I? Why am I doing this? So I decided to go for like my own answer was, I am someone on a mission. I do believe I have dropped pretty much everything concrete and stable in my life to go full on and follow my soul mission, my heart mission, and also my very spirited mind. I'm very straightforward, driven, passionate about what I do, and I want to give it my fullest. Like a shaman will go for a holistic approach for whatever they do or how they heal, and I decided to also go with the holistic approach on how I'm going to approach things and do things in my life. So I'm going to go with it with my whole body, my whole mind, and my whole heart. So if I describe go ahead.
You've shared with me certain details and certain stories about your fascinating journey, and it's certainly not ordinary in so many ways. Would you like to share with us perhaps some stories about your upbringing, kind of how did revelation about your own self came along, and a little bit about your background? How did it all start?
Okay, so it all started when, first of all, this is something that I had to discover much later. So I didn't know I was coming from a lineage of shaman from my father's side. So for me, that was a big revelation around my 30s.
What happened?
So basically when I was a kid, I was a teenager. I was in boarding school, and there was a period over a week. I started to have a lot of sensations at night, hearing voices, feeling electricity all over my body. I basically turned into a sort of a portal, or a gate, if we want to say, a gate through the physical world and the spiritual world. And that created a lot of anxiety, I have to say, at first. I didn't know what was going on. I started to be able to read people's minds, to see through to see their soul as well. So it was a week where I was about 14, 15. I ran away from boarding school after that because I honestly thought I was going a little crazy. It was overwhelming. And I decided to go back home. I didn't tell anyone because this is not something that you want to share, because you probably think that people definitely will not understand. And I got sick after this by actually blocking the gift. I got sick for 2 years. No doctors could find anything in my body. There was no inflammation, no nothing. But I was on painkillers for 2 years. And after that, it disappeared. I lived a normal life.
Sabrina, just the connection is a little bit weak, and now you're frozen. So let's see whether it will
I can hear
back.
My Wi-Fi.
You can hear me?
My Wi-Fi is full on, so I'm checking as well. Okay.
Okay.
So I was saying, so yes, so then I lived a normal life, and after that I had a lot of dreams again coming back when I was 30, and I started again to have all these sensations, feeling, but it was a lot more settled because I guess I was older, mature. I guess I was also ready for it. And this is when I started to go on a true self-discovery, self-journey here, digging through my family from my father's side to see where all of this was coming from. I turned into Reiki to see what was energy healing. I studied acupuncture with the meridians. I was very attracted to all of this type of alternative medicine until I created my own practice. So, and then I discovered that finally my family from my father's side, all the women were healers, they were shaman, and from all the men's side, they were all imams. So I had a religious side and the shaman side, spiritual and religious. So, for example, on my father's side, they were Muslim, and on my mother's side, they were Catholic. So I've been raised in a mix of a lot of things. And for me, starting as a kid, I used to carry my tarot cards everywhere. I used to, pull out my tarot cards and just read them all the time, not knowing exactly what I was doing, but it was just something very natural. And I started when I was like maybe 6, 7, until that particular event happened to me in boarding school, and then I just dropped everything because I got scared.
You didn't come to your family to say, I'm a witch, or maybe you...
No, that actually, to be honest, this came very, very late. So with my father, I actually had to mention and share because things were happening to me and I needed to get information from the family, which my grandmother, who's still alive, had blocked every single aspect of that part of our life or family, because when she got married to my grandfather, who was religious, a witch could not get married to an imam, to a religious man. So she had to block all of this in her life. And that's how they actually moved to France, because they were still in the desert, in the Sahara and south of Algeria. And this is how she never talked about it. And when I started digging, then she kind of realized, oh, this gift is somewhere, and she got it. And then I finally turned to my grandma. I told her that I, discovered who I was and what was happening in the family and about her mother, my great grandmother. And then she opened her arms and she said, welcome. I'm like, what? What do you mean welcome? And so she waited so long. But then she also explained to me later on that for a true shaman to become a shaman, first of all, you have to discover your skills on your own. You have to go through a certain way of, like, with quite a few obstacles. You have to overcome them. You have to grow stronger. You have to learn how to communicate with the spiritual world, with your own guides. And then it's almost like a passage of ritual, like you will own your card, you make it certificate, but no one guides you through it. So it's really your own instincts, gut feeling, and how strong the spirit is as well, because obviously it is very easy to give up and say I'm crazy.
That's actually, thank you for that. That actually brings me to a question. Do you think many of us have the ability to feel the energy on a higher level? And if so, how can we learn more about ourselves with this respect and cultivate perhaps this to be more acute and more potent?
I think this is something that everyone should maybe try to learn to a certain extent. I don't think we can become a shaman or a medium out of a school, but I do believe we can learn certain bases that could help us for our own self-awareness, self-healing as well, and maybe discover skills that I do believe that we all have a gift, or all have a skill if it's not a gift, and that is our own highest potential. And it's all about, I think, our life journey at the end of the day, about discovering. Everybody's like, what's my life purpose? So the life purpose, I do believe it's discovering that skill or that highest potential that you may have that will make you the best version of yourself, and that should be something that you should be pursuing. Sometimes it is hard. It obviously doesn't come easily, but it will start by just bringing a lot of awareness into yourself, getting to know yourself. So it doesn't mean you have to be spiritual. It could be in another field. Maybe you're just someone a mastermind. It could be like, you know, something else related to your brain. Or, I mean, I say this because I don't know how to count. So some people are very talented with numbers. I'm not. So it's also
Got
really
it.
where your potential is. I
Yes.
know where my weaknesses are and where my strengths are, and tapping into that and then trying to push to improve.
Thank you. Great. Do you have vivid dreams? And do you have a very real dreams? And if so, can you describe or share one of them, if it's okay? I don't want
It's
to
okay. It's
impose or go into the
I'm
forbidden
trying to find the
territory.
for you.
But do you have vivid
I
dreams that
do.
are sort of unusual to most of us?
I do. So usually my dreams are usually not really dreams. So when I sleep, if I just sleep, I won't have anything. But if I do have dreams, which for me I will not call them dreams, they are usually happen or they come with messages. So whether I have spiritual guides or even my great grandma coming to give me messages, or for example, this is a very recent one. Before I started my world tour, actually before I resigned, I had two dreams back to back. One night was me signing divorce paper and letting go of a particular relationship, my previous engagement. And the next day, I dreamed of signing my resignation letter at Dolce & Gabbana. And I was like, oh my God, this is happening, because I know my dreams are not dreams. They do happen. And 2 weeks later, I gave my engagement ring back. And the next day I quit my job, not even knowing that it was going to happen like this. But I felt the urge of sending a message and saying, okay, I give the ring back. And then next day, after a weekly meeting on a Monday morning, I remember standing up from my chair and I sent another message to my boss and say at the time, and I said, oh, can I call you back for 5 minutes? And those 5 minutes was just me saying, I got to go on a mission, I resign. So it was a big shock for everybody, but it was just meant to happen, and it was perfect timing. In fact,
So
divine
the message
timing.
here, we all should be very, very aware of our dreams and inner feelings, I think. The intuition, I think, from what I hear, is very, very important.
For the dreams, usually it's very hard to interpret. So, you know, people will Google and go, and what does this mean? It is very personal, very subjective. So the dreams, I would not say, do not really pay attention to the images, but pay attention to the feelings that you have when you feel or see the images. So, for example, you will be flying. Some people are flying and they feel very happy. That's a good sign. But if you're flying and you feel very scared, it's probably not a good sign. So this is more about how you feel about the dreams, because sometimes we think about things and we don't really see, we don't understand what it is, but the feeling is there.
Yes, absolutely.
Or I had a lot of out of my body experience, so I usually come out of my body at night and kind of travel around. So it could be like very concrete within my house or people's house. Don't worry, people, I do not spy on people, but when it comes out, it comes out. I can't predict. So yes, these are my kind of dreams. So they're not really dreams, they're experiences. We call them astral travel.
Thank you for that. Yeah, well, that's why shamanism, of course, is a spiritual practice found in cultures around the world from ancient times. And now, over the past decades, the word shamanism has been popularized throughout the Western world, especially, right, in the New Age circles. One could view shamanism perhaps as the universal spiritual wisdom inherited by all indigenous tribes. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about the spirituality practices that are rooted to the nature. How do you feel strongly to be associated with the nature as a shaman?
Yes. I mean, nature, even though I connect and actually work in the urban environments, I know that every maybe 2-3 months I need that time just alone by myself in the nature. So whether I will go, I'm quite intense, so maybe I will go climb the Kilimanjaro, or I'll go for running for 100K, but I would feel like the need to connect with the elements and to be completely one with it, and that usually helps me a lot also to recharge. So usually for me, the connection, I had it as well when I was in Peru, in the jungle. I went there for ayahuasca training. and I spent a few weeks there. And this is where we actually, ayahuasca is actually the medicine of the shaman. This is not something that I actually use for my practice, but it is a method as well. So this is a full connection with the universe, the stars, the nature. You're in the environment, in the jungle. Shamans, they sing Icaros during the ceremonies. It's a true awakening. We have to be ready as well for it, I have to say, because it's becoming very trendy to go on an ayahuasca weekend or retreat. But this should not be just a trend. It's actually something quite serious and very impactful as well in someone's life. And if you're not ready for it to fully face yourself as with very strong intensity, you should not go for it.
How do you get ready for something like that? It's obviously a ritual, and I guess it's a spiritual ritual. So I want to know, what does a spirituality means to you, first of all, and second, how do you get ready to have, if you're not a shaman, to experience something like that?
To get ready, I think unfortunately there's no particular method to follow, but it will be more like you will have a calling. Your guts will tell you, I want to overcome this,
yes,
to get better, or you will have really that strong need to do it, that urge.
Calling, I think, to experience this.
Correct. So for me, if I go back to the definition of spirituality, for me, spirituality would be more of a philosophy of life. It would be being aware of yourself as a whole, as like that you do have a spirit, taking care of your spirit from your mind. Your heart is also, a lot of spirituality for me is linked to all the inner journey, just looking inside. That's for me, being spiritual is being a whole with yourself. And also remembering that for me, when I tell myself I am someone who's spiritual, again, I do not associate this to any sorts of religion or God, but more like the universe.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
Yes. So this for me would, every time someone who's spiritual should always remember how small we are, because spirituality will always bring you to the universe. And that means by being spiritual, you just one connection to a network of other spiritual beings. And that always, it sets you back. It puts your ego back to maybe a little lower sometimes, and just be like, okay, I'm actually just a little stardust in here, someone very small in this big universe.
Absolutely, because sometimes people kind of mix spirituality with religion. There are so many religious people who are not really spiritual, and the other way around. There are people who are very spiritual and completely non-religious. So what you said is absolutely, I agree with that. Absolutely. That brings me to the mindset, to the topic of the mindset, because our mindset is a set of beliefs and shapes how we make sense of the world and ourselves. It influences how we think, how we live our lives, how we judge certain situations or not judge certain situations. How strong is our mindset, and can it be changed?
I think the mindset is the strongest thing that we have. It is something, I mean, if you look at it from way back from when we were young, the way we've been educated, between brackets, conditioned, also by like family or environment or society, depending where we're living, and so then we arrive as an adult and we have already preset belief system that it is very hard to change, but it is possible. Unfortunately, this is my own very personal point of view here, but we'll see people who actually have a very big shift in their mindset or belief system are usually, unfortunately, people that go through sort of very impactful event in their life, or traumatic. It doesn't have to be painful, but it has to be quite impactful. And from there, we manage to crack the mind, because we're like, actually, this mindset is no longer working. There is something else.
What tools would you recommend, just basic tools, for any of us to work on our own mindset, to be able to change it if needed, if we feel that it has to?
First of all, that people should not wait for something to happen to change their mindset or to look at it. Just being aware that there are other things out there, to be open, receptive to other opinions, beliefs. So that's really accepting that maybe every opinion has a good part in it. So it's really prevention. Then you could be also a guide. It could be like, having a session with me could already just that be an eye opener, give you a pair of eyes, a different perspective on something that you thought that was solid and fixed, and then actually I will give you another angle, and you might see that completely different. It's like a 360. It's like we look at it as a whole. So the prevention here is being open, staying open, having an open mind, just saying that your belief right now, belief system is working well. Hopefully it will keep on working well, but there's always room for improvement as well. So that means being open to other thoughts, thinking system, and see how you could implement that into your own if you like it. Obviously, it's very subjective. And going from there, so it will be prevention, being open, and then finding guys that we resonate with, or and see how these people can give us another perspective on things.
Thank you. By saying that, by listening to you, can you block certain people from your energy and therefore from your life? With your mindset, of course.
No, with mine, usually I don't think I ever blocked anyone. I think the blocking for me, if I use that word, would mean that I will bury that person or that particular situation. And for me, burying an emotion, it will come out later with a full-on impact or a bigger force. So this is not something I would want to do. I would be, for me, how I would say, I would accept everyone, every opinion, but I would just not resonate with them. Some will come try to trigger you, to get angry. The best way you can do is not to block them, but to not react to them. Once you learn how to not to react to everyone's reaction or energy or emotion, or even, when they try to stab you a little bit or poke you in there, then you can be the king here, because you can just be happy with your own energy and everybody can be around and you're not affected by it. And
but that's working with mindset. That's the whole, that's exactly, I think you have to work with your mindset. Absolutely.
I understand. Okay. So yes, being comfortable, the mindset here will be really, first of all, believing in what you say strongly, believing in your own belief system as well strongly, but also having your believing system very flexible, believing that it could change, it could evolve. You're not always right, first of all. And then things could go another path. It's not always straight, but it's a big part of, I think, of acceptance, accepting people and other people's opinion, and learning from them as well. There's always something good to learn, even if we agree to disagree. That's fine.
Thank you. That's great. Well, now that we kind of hopefully learn a little bit more in depth about shamanism, I would like to for you to share about your work, about your sessions. And I was privileged to have a session with you last week, and I must admit it was absolutely surreal, and I told you about it. It's a bit hard to describe, I think, but the overall experience for me was feeling of this lightness, of peace, and of physical rest. And I'm not that kind of a person who can rest and go come in complete trance very easily, but it did happen with me, and perhaps I felt that I spent the whole day in a very nice spa, and it's very, very unusual for me. So can you please take us through your session, and what do you personally feel when you conduct the session?
Yes. So a private session would last around an hour. So there are two parts of the session. The first part, I'll be working on the energy. So I'll be connecting to my clients, whether on Zoom or in person. And this is where I will be opening doors, cleansing, rebalancing the energy if it needs. And this is also particularly where I'll be seeing where things are blocking, where the burdens are.
Sabrina, just, yeah, the Wi-Fi disappeared for a little bit again. So if you just rewind, just one sentence back.
Okay. So,
Sorry.
So I lost myself. So the first part of the session, this is where I will be seeing. So again, I am a seer, so I mentioned that I images from people's life, from their past, present, and sometimes very near future. And I focus and see where blockages are. I deal with emotional traumas, burdens, and especially also all the things that I'll be able to see throughout the first session are things that my client is ready to face, to hear, to work on. If they're not ready, this is not something I'll be able to dig. And I don't believe in digging. I believe in timing and process. And that's the first part of the session, mainly on the energy level. So it's just me seeing. And then the second part of the session, I'll be tapping into the translating and communicating the message. So I'll be delivering the messages that I have picked up from my client's energy field. So I will describe every single images and give very clear messages on how to, go further into their past or tap into their potential, on how to solve certain issues that they may have or emotional traumas that they have faced, how to move forward. So I usually deliver messages that are very grounded, very straight to the point as well. I'm very straightforward. If my clients need a lot of love, I'll give love, but if they need a kick in the ass, I also give a kick in the ass. I don't choose. I think some people, need sometimes a wake up call.
Yes, absolutely.
Will be delivered, and some just need a lot of love and tenderness, and that also what I will provide.
What parts of the body do you connect with when you read this energy, and what each body part or region of the body associated with?
So I would connect to so the feet area. So I will connect to the toes, the feet, the ankles. So this is a part linked to the past. So it will be your tree of life, your roots, your DNA, also all the heavy traumas that we don't want to deal with, that we shift under the carpet. Usually this is where we find them, feet area. Family could come out on your feet and your ankles. This is where I will see like a burden that we carry from the past that is time to drop, that is no longer serving you. It's also a way that you used to think that is also no longer helping you. So it pretty much means rethink the way you think, try to adjust a little bit. So this is the area where I will find it. Your knees area will be your relationship with your own feminine energy and your own masculine energy. So your feminine energy would be creativity, intuition, emotions, feeling, thinking, and the masculine energy would be logical, practical, ego, finance, strength, action, movement. Your hips area will be your support, how you stand on your own 2 feet with your own feminine and masculine energy, how confident you are, how independent you may be, if there are also any financial fears or lack of self-esteem could also be found there. Or sometimes people who overcome or do too much, have an overactive masculine energy. On both of your wrists is like in Chinese medicine, there will be your heart. So I will be straightly seeing into your heart, see how you love, or if there are any conflicts in your talking about love, or your elbows. One is career, and the other one is like how the best way for you to tap into your highest potential, to reach the best version of yourself. Your shoulders usually are linked to stress and anxiety. This is also something that anyone could, notice. Every time we're stressed or tired, we have pressure on our shoulders.
Yes, absolutely.
Exactly. So this is where all these joints part of the body that I'm actually describing right now, for me, they are emotional warehouses. So it means if the warehouse is full, the emotions is too much, then it will have to come out and will reach the physical layer. And this is when chronic pains start, or pressure, or like joints that start.
Sorry for the connection.
It's okay. So basically, I was
yes,
saying,
sorry, Sabrina, if I interrupt you a little bit sometimes, it's because the connection breaks off. So, but please continue.
It's good you tell me, no worries.
Yeah.
So basically, yes, for the, I was talking about the warehouses. So all the joints in your body are emotional warehouses. So this is where we stock all our emotions that we don't process out. So it's stored in. And if the warehouse is full, basically what happens is that you may start having chronic pains in any part of your body. So that's why it's very important to know your body and what each part of your body is related to an emotion. I lost track of my thought, sorry. So yes, your head will be the way you think. Your third eye here will be how you see your future. Your throat here will be communication on how you will be expressing yourself or not expressing yourself enough. Or maybe the communication, how you talk to yourself. Is it positive or not positive? Your solar plexus here will be your self-confidence. It's your self-confidence tank. So to see how, is it half full, empty, or overactive? Sometimes I have some people who are overconfident as well. It does happen. The belly area, I could see anything. I could see from diet to exercise to stress to pregnancy to anything in there. It's the storage room for pretty much everything. So basically, the session will touch all parts of your life, from career to finance to love to family to what's your purpose as well, to also helping to release on anxiety, on depression, stress, deeper traumas as well. There's only one rule that I give for my sessions. I don't work with rules. I do believe that, I like to go with the flow. But I always ask my clients not to tell me anything about their lives. Means they come to me as a blank piece of paper and I will see with my own eyes, because I really want to see the root of the issue, where it all started. Yes. I want to remove all the layers of, the physical world, which is like stress and family and environments that we add, and then actually we track where the whole problem started. We just remember the consequences. I'm not feeling good or I'm suffering, but where it started, usually we kind of don't remember. And this is where I want to tap in and heal that part of the wound, so then you can just move on and consequences was just formed.
So shall I kind of acknowledge it that the goal for you, for your sessions, is to discover and uncover the blockages that basically lead to the better well-being, physical and mental as well? And if so, how does it correlate to the physical part of the issue?
Correct. So for me, each session will be, it's a process. So usually I always tell my clients, if we embark on a journey, the first maybe 2-3 sessions will be to first unload what is unnecessary, what is too heavy, what is blocking you. But then the rest of the journey is all about tapping into your potential. Because my main goal here, yes, is to see where things block. But then if I carry on with you, it will be to for you to reach the best version of yourself. So to tap into your potential. So then I see my clients just thrive, and this is where I get excited, very happy. Even when I'm dealing with trauma, I'm also very happy because I feel that they dropped it, and they're willing as well to step out of it and to face themselves. And sometimes it's not very easy to hear what I have to say. Some sessions are very light, some sessions could be heavier. So it's a really a big step when they show up at my studio or on Zoom, and I'm like, all right, means it's already.
So by saying that, can you share with us what is the most memorable sensation, perhaps, or your biggest achievement, or that you can identify or share with us from the result of the particular treatment, a particular session? What is your success story? Share with us at least one of them.
I think I had one in particular that was really, really, really dark. Physically, like when we have, when we're angry, we kind of close ourselves in. And she was very stubborn. And the session when I was talking to her, she was just rejecting everything. No. And usually when this happens, it has to be a process. She needs to digest it and then just take her time. So I told her to take the time and to digest. And she was really, really a very angry person. She left, she came back, and she told me how everything in her life collapsed and how much she cried after my session for a week. And I was like, oh my God, this is not really good. I was like, why are you back? And she was like, but now look at me, like I'm shining. She was just like, and I could see actually her skin. I thought she actually did a treatment or a facial or something like, and no, she didn't. She was just glowing. She was like, I finally dropped it. I finally managed to step out of the clouds. So that was one for anger. I have one for a relationship who came with me to talk about divorce. And by working together, I gave her a perspective on the whole situation, maybe on both sides as well, and how maybe also her own ideas could be limited on certain things. So we really opened up to the whole process of being in a relationship, being married, and they're still happily married. They actually ripped off the divorce paper, and it's been a year now, and they're very happy. So I have.
Well, that's a very, very truly successful story. Yes, it's doesn't happen that often.
I have with depression as well. Who come to me very, very close, depressed, and also managed to step out. I see them like maybe a year later. Depression is a particular animal, so it doesn't work so quickly. But already after a few sessions, they see like a big improvement. They stop the medicine. They're just off the pills and just happy. They may be ups and downs. Obviously, there's no magic here. There's a lot of work as well, and inner force from the person, the client, that needs to want to evolve as well. It's not just I go see a shaman and she will do some magic and then okay, I'm done. Yes. There's also some work.
That means by describing all this and by talking to us about your success stories and just mentioning about this depression experience someone had to clear this from their heart and life, how holistic your process is?
How, sorry?
Holistic.
Yes.
Is it a holistic process in terms of obviously the way you look at things and the way you kind of were able to cancel out a certain medicine from the patient that you just described?
Because again, it works on every single layer of the person. So we will be talking about reaching out to the soul, to the mindset, obviously the mind, the heart, but also the physical. There is a lot of sessions where I would actually my clients to some physical health, because I truly believe that physical health equals mental health, and mental health also equals physical health. It has to work together. It's not just work within, but our temple is falling apart. We need the two of them and the three of them with the spirit to work together to be aligned. So yes, it's a full approach on every single layer. So emotional, spiritual, and physical is definitely holistic. And we look at everything, the behind, like someone will come with the pain, and then we will look at what's the emotion behind, how it started. So that's the full approach of it. We're not just going to give medicine and cover. So it will be a different approach. We're really trying not to cover it and see where it all started, so we can treat it at the source and then remove the pain progressively.
And by talking about removing the pain, I know, and you told me that you're also a clinical acupuncturist. I personally believe in acupuncture, and I had many sessions of it for my migraine, for cold, for different things. Can you please tell us what is the link between this ancient practice and shamanism as well?
The link that I found myself was, first of all, they're both very ancient alternative medicine, I may say, and they're both very holistic as well. So they work on the physical body with the needles, physical layer, but they trigger nerves, and they work with energy. So in Chinese medicine, we have the qi. So it's the force of life, the life force. That's called qi in Chinese. And for in shamanism, for my own practice, the way I help to remove blockages and to rebalance the energy of my clients, I use the exact same meridians. And same that in acupuncture, Chinese medicine, each organ is linked to an emotion. So they really deal with the emotions with the physical organ itself. So it was actually, for me, it was quite intriguing how I was first led to acupuncture and learn all the meridians, and then the more I developed my own ICU practice, and then I actually realized that I was using the exact same meridians. So it is those ancients, if we look at it, those very ancient alternative medicine are all very linked and worked on the very, all of them were covered every single layers of a human. I don't know if you're still there.
Thank you.
Yes.
And, you know, when you were doing when you were having a session with me, you put a very upbeat and totally unexpected music last week. What was the thinking behind it? I was definitely, you know, usually when you go into the spa and any kind of a sort of, I don't know, environment where they submerge you into the sort of a little bit of a calming and surreal experience, you hear this calm music, you put completely opposite to this notion music. And I just want to know, I'm curious, I didn't ask you after my session, but I want to ask now, what was the rationale behind it? Not that I didn't enjoy it, but I'm just curious.
No, I like it. You're touching a few points here. It's good. Actually, you're bringing one point also of my personality. My personality would be expected. So that means if you expect something, you're probably going to get the opposite. So that's one thing. And then I really try to get away from, I really tried really hard with my own practice to modernize it, to make it very different from any spa or healing music. So when you go to a spa and you listen to music, you'll be like ding, 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 ding. I'm not interested in making you ding, ding, ding. I can still give you so much peace without that music. And actually the upbeat will make it everything
triggers certain, perhaps maybe triggers certain energies. I'm just guessing.
Is that these music triggers. So they're all have roots, very modern beats. They have words sometimes. So the thing is that I have 5 playlists, and each playlist have around 500 songs. And each time I play for every single of my clients in shuffle mode. Means you will never, ever get the same songs. But what you will get in the moment will be what you need. So there are some songs where are very common. But for your session, this is what you need.
Yes, well, you let me choose, and I did choose. So maybe it was also associated with spirituality or a certain energy that conveyed this kind of particular music for me to trigger certain things. I'm not sure. Do you ever do you ever feel scared about your extraordinary abilities?
I could feel a bit scared and also excited. I'm very excited because I see that our potential is, I almost want to say, limitless. Once I reach a certain point, I think, oh, okay, this is it. Probably, you know, I'm here on top. There's still so much more that comes. Scared sometimes, yes, because I want to say the along my path, the way I evolved, then I find it very difficult also to be fully understood by people. So it could be sometimes a bit of a lonely path because once we start getting into this path, spiritual path, or certain abilities, and we cannot find someone, let's say, like us, or could completely resonate with us, that probably is the part that scares me. But for the rest, it's actually I find it very exciting. Because I find a purpose for it. If I didn't have a purpose for it, I'll be scared. I used to be scared when I was young, but now I'm actually very excited about it. I found a way to channel it, a way to work with it, to make it grow and especially to help people with it. That's
Wonderful. Sabrina, thank you for that. Who or what really entices you or guides you into your journey? Is there anyone or anything in particular that gives you the certain push or certain ability to continue into this journey?
If we have to talk in the spiritual world, with my great grandma, she's always by my side. Someone I have, sometimes I may have a doubt, or something will pop a sign and confirmation, and then I will just be almost, I want to say, unstoppable, unbreakable. I'm someone who so rarely feels pain, not in the heart. I'm very sensitive, but physically I'm quite I don't feel much. Just keep going. But in terms of like around me, I do not have particular guides. So the guides that I have really are stars, and it's pretty much my spirit guiding my path here. I truly trust. So it's a big commitment, and it's really 100% trust here. So.
Of course. And you know, and a few more last questions before we finish up. I know we almost been talking for an hour. You come, you know, you have been working for very prestigious, very luxury fashion house. Are you a fashionista? And if so, or if not anymore, does it really give you any importance at the point, or it's not really important anymore in your life?
I think I've never been a fashionista. I love clothes. We can't deny that. I'm a lover. We cannot deny that. But it's true that there's been a major shift on how my priorities, what shifted, what was really important for me. And I do believe that sometimes the bigger your inner self grows, the best, when you start really know yourself and how much you trust yourself and you know your worth, then what you're going to wear doesn't really matter anymore, because you know it's like what's inside that really matters is going to be what you're going to be saying, what you're going to be thinking, how you're going to be feeling, more than, oh, I have a beautiful dress on. But again, I'm not against like nice clothes, so I have both sides. We live in this world. I also enjoy you know, very nice clothes, shoes, good food, so I would not put myself living in the woods. So yeah, but I'm not a fashionista. But I do understand now I will call it that. I will say that the importance is definitely not there. If I have to my wardrobe, be happy to do so.
Yes.
So
fantastic. And perhaps a few words of wisdom from all of us, maybe from the other side of the world. I don't know, I'll leave it to you.
For this one, I think I'm going to go very generic, even if people may be expecting something else. But here, I think especially for what we're living now, and also for your personal life, I want to remind people that everything happens for a reason. Nothing is ever random. And whether it is good or bad, we have to remember that there is a lesson to learn from it. It happens definitely for a reason, even if we don't know why or how or what it is at this time. We will get to know it later. And then also one thing for people that thinks that I want to say, anything that the universe throws your way, just remember that the universe will never throw something your way that you will not be able to overcome. Means whatever it is, you can get through it. You can overcome it. If it's on your path, it's for a reason. Otherwise, you just wouldn't be in this situation.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Sabrina, for giving all of us a piece of you. I'm really grateful for the session, last week that I personally experienced, and I certainly recommend and encourage many of our listeners to go and try it, because it's really very holistic, very wholesome, and very rewarding experience, I should say. You can read up on Sabrina on her website. It's Healing. Please follow Sabrina on her Instagram, go on her website, and You will learn a lot about shamanistic energy healing and alternative therapy, and book the session if you feel like that's something that you would like to experience. I'm certainly grateful, as I said, that I did. This session will be recorded. If somebody who were not able to listen to the whole thing or who might want to listen to it again, it will be recorded on my IGTV, Events by Olga, under the Conversations, and also on the YouTube under Conversations with Olga. And follow us and follow Sabrina, and hope to see you again, Sabrina, very soon. I know that you're flying out tomorrow, so I'm so happy that I've managed to get a little bit of time, of your time, to join us all and share everything with us. That is so fascinating. So thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Please feel free to write to me to express your opinions or ask the questions. There will be more sessions, of course, coming in the next several weeks, and up to now, today was my episode number 33. So thank you very much for joining me and listening to me, and have a safe journey and be happy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sabrina, very much.
And thank you all for being with us today. Thank you.
Thank you.